Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're zooming in on the invisible grid. It's literally the backbone of modern travel, but, completely invisible to the naked eye. We're going to see exactly how aviation navigation completely strips away the rules of your daily commute and relies on something totally different. It's a quick dive, but a fascinating one for sure. Okay, let's dive into this. So, think about it. On the ground, GPS guides our daily travels, right? You punch in an address and boom, you're guided by physical landmarks, stoplights, paved streets, the whole shebang. But the very second you take flight, all those reference points just completely vanish. I mean, the rules of the road simply do not apply when there are literally no roads to follow, which leaves us with a pretty interesting problem, doesn't it? How do we actually navigate without roads? When you're suspended thousands of feet up in the air, moving hundreds of miles an hour through the clouds, you're just sitting in this vast, seemingly empty space. So we really need a way to completely shift our perspective, away from the grounded physical world and up into the open sky. Once we leave those physical roads behind, an entirely different framework has to take over. In flight, navigation requires a global grid, and this is a complete paradigm shift. We are no longer relying on concrete paths paved on the ground. Instead, we're relying on this massive conceptual mathematical grid that's mapped out across the entire planet. Let's define exactly what that means. A global grid is the invisible navigational framework required for flight. It's essentially this kind of phantom infrastructure. Completely unseen by the human eye, it wraps all the way around the Earth and effectively replaces our street signs. It's exactly what keeps millions of passengers safely on track every single day. Now, what's really interesting here is the core mathematical language of this grid. It's all built on 360 degrees. So instead of thinking in terms of linear miles down a highway, in-flight navigation relies on this continuous, unbroken geometry. Every single possible direction in three-dimensional space is mapped out and perfectly accounted for within this 360-degree sphere. But a floating sphere of numbers just isn't enough on its own, right? It actually has to be anchored to reality. And that happens by aligning the system with true north. This is exactly how the invisible grid connects back to our physical planet. By locking that 360-degree geometry perfectly to the Earth's true north, this abstract concept transforms into a highly reliable map. So the crucial point is the ultimate result of those two steps working together, and that is the generation of a precise heading. By aligning that 360-degree grid with true north, it tells the pilot exactly where the nose of the plane is pointing relative to the rest of the globe. It's literally pulling absolute certainty right out of thin air. It really changes how you look out of an airplane window, doesn't it? That empty blue sky isn't actually empty at all. It's a matrix of pure precision mathematics. So next time you fly, how will you picture that invisible 360-degree grid pulling your precise heading right out of the sky? It is an absolute marvel of invisible geometry, and it's what makes traveling our globe possible. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you on the next one.